Alright, that's right. It is Saturday. Start your weekend the Sacktap way. And once again, I have made the mistake of wearing a fucking dark-colored t-shirt in front of my dark-ass shades here, because I'm fucking retarded. Anyway, we've been starting these with what is a new thing where I grab some weird shit from my shelves, because usually you can, I don't know, I must be angling the camera weird today, but you can usually see weird shit behind me, so let's see what I have today. Oh fuck, almost dropped it. One sec. Fucking, I get up too early. I'm all over the fucking place. But anyway, we are going to today's weird shit is the Woody. Got a little Woody going, and as you can see, the surfboard on top is a Ron John Surf Shop purchase. And the cool another LBI souvenir. Does the doors open? Oh shit! Oh shit! Got the Woody. That's too bad they don't flip up. It'd be so cool to have fucking suicide doors on this bitch. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. The Woody is, this is what surfers drive around in California, and they go on, I believe, what they call surfing safaris. And I was down in San Diego in PB a couple months ago, and people get fucking weird, man. There was a guy, he was talking to a puddle for a while. He would dance, and he'd be like, woo! And then he would talk to a fucking puddle. I'm not shitting you. The motherfucker was no shit talking to a puddle. You gotta understand, we're talking about California. We went up to San Fran. We walked around Haight-Ashbury. Like, these are like literally the places that gave birth to the fucking Manson family. So I don't know. I like to imagine that maybe they got some Indian in the cupboard shit going on here, and there's like a little action figure, and him and his friends getting this, and they drive around and they go round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, woo, I get around. It's too early for me to hit that falsetto. I'm sorry. But yeah, maybe they go, maybe they commit murders for Charles Manson, and they hang out in the desert and do all sorts of cool Manson family shit. So that's it's Woody. That's weird shit from my shelves for Saturday. Put that. I gotta put that back so it doesn't fall. Oh shit. All right. Now to the meat of the episode. A lot of people might disagree, but I think Conor McGregor is a fucking hero, to be totally honest. What he did is probably bad, but I kind of miss bad athletes. I guess that's what I'm getting at here. I'm very disheveled this morning. You can see my t-shirt. It says, "Whiskey made me do it," and you might think I'm hungover as fuck, as I've been on this show before, but that is not the case. Just groggy from a long week. Today is my Friday. About to head in for my last shift of the week. Maybe treat myself to a quick Friday break and go rub one out in the handicap stall if not too many people are around. No, I don't masturbate at work. I know some of you do. The shoe fits. But you know what? I miss bad athletes. Like, my favorite baseball player ever is probably Ty Cobb, because he was just such a dick. But like, I guess when we were growing up, parents used to tell us, we don't need athletes to be role models. They're not athletes. You should look up to doctors and lawyers and stuff. And even that's kind of shitty advice. Because you look at like doctors and lawyers and politicians do. They're all fucking, they get doctors molesting patients while they're out under the gas and stuff. So the real answer should be a fucking parent, and don't rely on fucking Michael Jordan to raise your kid, because let me tell you something, that Space Jam stuff just absolute fucking full of shit. If you know the real Michael Jordan, he was a fucking compulsive gambler and apparently a bit of a dick, but man, could he fucking ball, huh? MJ in his prime, whew. Yeah, so it's cool. I'm totally down with dickhead athletes. I miss the days of like Keith Hernandez just like bumping lines of amphetamines in the clubhouse before games and shit. Like, and the reason they would do it back then was because they'd be so hungover from the night before. And I've talked at length about the '86 Mets on every show that I do, and the Dallas Cowboys of the early '90s. But these guys were fucking savages. Like, they played hard, and then they played hard. Like, if you don't know about the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s, they had if you watch the show Ballers, this is what it's based on, they had a mansion near the practice facility where they would go, and after practice was over, and if the team needed to find them, they knew exactly where they were. If to bring them in for a meeting or some shit, they'd go to the mansion, go track them down, and they said the place was just filled with empty liquor bottles, fucking spent condoms, drugs, and like dildos and shit. And you just have like random chicks walking in and out at all hours of the day. And pretty much when these guys weren't doing football, they were just over there getting fucking weird, man. So if there's actually a Ballers episode where they have a place called the Clubhouse where all the guys hang out, and that's based on the NFL heyday of the early '90s when Michael Irvin, who now is like everybody's favorite guy on like NFL Network and shit. What these guys were doing, like, he would stay out doing cocaine and hanging out with strippers all night. Show up to practice on like 100-degree field in fucking Texas, and he would after practice. These guys were such animals. He would make the rookie receivers stay after practice with him, and they would have to catch 100 balls without a drop before they could leave the field. And that's why that team was so fucking good. You imagine that shit today? Motherfuckers just heading in for hitting the showers, gonna go get my fucking ice therapy. Nah, not back in the day with Michael Irvin. Back in the day with Michael Irvin, it was all about fucking blowing lines and making big catches. He once, I believe, a rookie cut him in line for a haircut, and he held a pair of scissors to the rookie's throat, and I believe cut him close to the jugular. But that's the kind of shit you used to get away with back then. Can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore. Well, what else did, well, obviously he had the hookers and coke hotel room incident, which, could you imagine the Me Too movement if that were to happen today? But back in the 90s, it was just kind of like, it's Michael Irvin, that's what he does. We got to put it on ESPN, but it's not that big a deal. It's just Michael Irvin with a couple of hookers and coke. That's like a quiet night in for him. Who else was pulling that shit? I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is I miss the glory days of sport when when athletes could be their true asshole selves without a bunch of dickheads getting in the way. And currently, the dickheads getting in the way I want to blame this, and this is going to sound very misogynist. People call me a misogynist, but it should really be blamed on chicks, I think, right? Because chicks didn't start really watching sports until probably the late 2000s. The NFL was like, oh, you guys know we can make a shitload of money doing this, and everyone followed suit in Title IX and all this retardation, and it went from being the boys club. People always use the term boys club like it's bad. Being in a boys club is awesome. You do whatever the fuck you want, and then if you need chicks, you just pay them and bring them in, and they dance and they get naked for you, and you can negotiate other stuff later on. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. There is no Me Too in the boys club because you're banging paid professionals. It's absolute brilliant stuff. But then, of course, now we have fucking Jessica Mendoza doing Sunday Night Baseball. That's what we've come to. And I believe Ty Cobb would be rolling in his grave. But another effect of this, I believe, has been this push to make sports more like family-friendly and safe. And right now what's going on is what I call the war on football. And I'm sure other people have called it that. I'm not taking credit for the term, but I use it quite frequently. There's definitely a war on football going on, and that evidenced by what they announced in New Jersey yesterday. New Jersey football, and if people are going to fucking call bullshit when I say this, New Jersey is one of the best football states in the country. We've produced some of the fucking best. Look around the league, Greg Olston, Victor Cruz's hamstring shot, but I mean we've had fucking just no Sean Moreno is a Jersey guy, Brian Cushing, another Jersey guy, Flacco, Jersey guy. We can go down the just down the list. Marcel Shipp was a New Jersey guy, he's a BPSL guy. Actually, so is Victor Cruz. New Jersey's a fantastic football state, and now they want to ban tackle football for kids 12 and under. Right, so basically what they're saying is you don't get to tackle, you don't get to hit the sled, do any of that shit until I guess at least middle school. 12 is like 8th grade maybe. Not a good idea, folks. And of course, it is being pushed by the State Women and Children's Committee in the State Assembly. Hey, Matt Clemente, thanks for checking in. Yeah, puck's flying at your head. No concussion risk there, of course. Dilly. But anyway, yeah, just complete retardation. And probably one of the best ways to let you know that this is an asinine move is that the other states pushing this kind of thing, New York, California, and Illinois, Is it Illinois or Illinois? I don't fucking know. But if New York and California are championing it, it's probably fucking retarded. That's just a great jumping off point. If New York, and if you know, if people like De Blasio and fucking what's her name, Dianne Feinstein, is she the one whatever that fucking lunatic out on the West Coast is, all those liberal hippie cocksuckers. And I'm not talking about you guys, 223 guys out, Echo Company boys in the Bay. I know you guys are strong like bull, red-blooded Americans, but I'm talking about your friends and neighbors out there, the ones that work for the Googles and Facebooks of the world. Oh, Facebook's probably listening. I'm probably going to get assassinated by drone for as much as I've shit on the tech industry this week. But you know what I mean. It's these liberal asshole states like New York and California that push this shit, and Illinois too has some massive liberal pockets. Remember, they did produce Barry O. So this is if it has to do with football and it comes from a state like that, we should just ignore it and just be like, you shut the fuck up. Thank God, though, it is being, in New Jersey at least, it is being met with resistance. Actually, I think one of the guys leading the charge against it is, and I didn't even realize he was in the state assembly, is Benji Wimberly. And if you're from out of North Jersey or out of New Jersey, you're going to be like, who the fuck is Benji Wimberly? He's the head coach at Hackensack High School right now, which Hackensack for forever was a beast of a Group 4 team in New Jersey. They won 5 or 6 straight state titles. A monster fucking school, Hackensack Comets. And when I was in high school, he used to coach Patterson Catholic, so he actually coached against my team. Like I said before, Victor Cruz, Patterson Catholic guy. They've put some other dudes at some big colleges and shit. But it's heartwarming to know that we have at least one lawmaker, and the article I was reading was on NorthJersey.com. Shout out to John Montone, the patriarch of the Montone family, sending me that article. It might have escaped my notice had I not seen it. So thanks, old man. But it's good to know that the game has allies in the lawmaking community, because this is a very scary push that's going on to get rid of football, and I think it's asinine, to be totally honest, because first things first, from a logical perspective, you're going to say, okay, you're not going to ban high school football, though. College football's still going to exist. So you're going to now have awkward, gangly teenagers, some who are starting to get real big faster than others. They're hitting their growth spurts and shit. And now you're going to have them start hitting, and they're not going to know anything about technique, so they're just going to start cracking each other. And there's some pretty big size differences when you look at kids in middle school and shit, because some kids don't hit that growth spurt until late, some hit it early. So kids are going to get fucked up as a result of this, as opposed to when everyone's in like 2nd, 3rd grade, everyone is generally a different degree of small, except for maybe a couple outliers. Like, I was an outlier on the super small end. And I'm honest, I didn't grow past 5'7", but I'm about 190 now. I think at my biggest I was like fucking 230. So you can get bigger. It just doesn't happen when you're a little kid. But generally speaking, Pee-wee football players they're little midgets wrapped in fucking bubble wrap, and they lightly fucking ram into each other. But what does go on during those early years of playing the game is you learn great technique, right? You teach it over and over and over again, or at least you should at the Pee-wee level. And that's really where the initiative should be. It shouldn't be in banning the sport. It should be in teaching great tackling technique. So I think you would see if you look at, watch the way these guys play on Sunday, and I always say, the best evidence for this is the last play of the Saints-Vikings playoff game, when that motherfucker whiffed on the tackle, because all he had to do was break down and wrap that dude up. And what did he do? He tried to fucking jack his ass. Fucking head, for that fucking head shoulder first dive right into him, not looking at what he's tackling, literally going against everything in the book on how you're supposed to fucking tackle in the game of football. And actually, they're saying now the new technique they want to teach guys is the rugby tackle, and it's actually a pretty cool tool they're they've rolled out for it. It's like this big rolling wheel, and it's got a space in the middle so you can wrap it, and it teaches guys to chase it down and rugby tackle. And that's really the way you're supposed to be tackling it anyway, because you can't, if you're a guy my size playing safety or something like that, and you have a fucking truck of a running back like an Ezekiel Elliott type dude coming at you, if you think you're going to fucking lay out and level that dude, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, he's going to blast you. So that's where I think most of the head injuries are coming from bad technique. Sorry, I had like a hair hanging through. It's like a little fucking clit hanging down. Sorry, I literally just rolled out of bed. If you watch these and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Was he looking at his eyes are half shut and he's been on like a 3-day fucking heroin bender? It's because I know shit. Wake up, pour a cup of coffee, and hit live on this motherfucker and bring my morning to you. We start our day the savage way here. But, yeah, so we have to teach, if we want to prevent serious injury, we have to teach great technique, and then we also have to accept that down the line, as you get towards high school, and not as much high school, but definitely college, and if you're going to play in the pros, you got to make a decision for yourself whether you're going to continue to play a sport, whether it has, for me, football had a great deal of intrinsic value. I wanted to keep playing, got to play from Pee-wees all the way through a couple years in college, and I got a couple minor concussions here or there. As you know, I'm more than a decade removed from the sport, and as far as I can tell, my parents and girlfriend might disagree, but as far as I can tell, there hasn't been any serious head trauma. Actually, the worst of it is probably having a fucking fucked up right eye, and that was from a post-practice scuffle that involved a helmet going into the side of my face when I did not have one on. So that's a tough piece of evidence to really throw out there against the sport of football. But fucking Jesus Christ, if you just talk about turning kids into fucking vaginas these days, that is the end result of getting women way too involved in the fucking sport. And the other piece of it is the lessons that you learn from football are those that really can't be taught anywhere else. And my father and I have gone back and forth on this. He said, well, cross country is a tough sport and those kids work hard. And the thing is, if you're getting your ass kicked in cross country practice, you just wind up behind the pack huffing and breathing and gasping for air. If you're getting your ass kicked in football practice, you're actually getting your ass kicked. So you have to learn how to deal with getting your ass kicked, which is an important part of adult life, because everyone grows up to eventually get their ass kicked. There are very, very few people who are on the ass-kicking end day in and day out. Even the people who make themselves appear to be the biggest ass-kickers are in fact not. In fact, they've probably gotten their asses kicked more times than you can imagine, and are are so used to that they're like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck if I get my ass kicked. I'm gonna knuckle up and roll with it and go kick some ass myself. So you don't learn that from there are not many sports where you learn that. You're not going to learn that on a fucking soccer field. I'm not going to call it a soccer pitch because I'm not an asshole. It's a soccer field. Everything's a field. And not even lacrosse, a little bit maybe, but not really. I mean, football, wrestling, I would throw wrestling in there, but football and maybe some boxing, but no one fucking boxes. Fucking good. It's not the inner city. Fucking boxing. Fucking white kids boxing. Get the fuck out of here. It's not 1950. All right. Our days of that are done. Done. But yeah, that's what we need football, because I wouldn't be who I am today without football. I know I had a few beers with Mike Monopoly, if you're listening. Glad to have beers with you last Friday. We were talking about, the lessons that you learn. We were talking about our old coach, DJ Nymphius. I've mentioned him at length on the show before, and Mike was saying, not me, Mike, other Mike, was saying, people would ask him, who's the best teacher you ever had? He'd say, oh, hands down, Nymphius. And they'd be like, well, you're saying that because you're your coach. You never learned anything in his class. And the response is, you have no we'd learned more from that guy about life, how to be a grown-up, and how to fucking overcome shit and persevere, and how to be just a responsible, fucking accountable, grown-ass man than I can't imagine. Other than the Marine Corps, I don't think I ever learned anything about that shit anywhere the way I learned it playing ball at Glen Rock and under that gentleman's tutelage. And so to start chipping away at the sport of football is to deny kids the opportunity to have that, and it's not for everybody. Some kids aren't going to want to go through that crucible of just physical pain and double sessions and really feeling like absolute dog shit for a good chunk of your childhood because you're out there running around fucking pads, sweating, getting your fucking getting kicked in the fucking nuts on the fucking pile, whatever. For over a decade. Some kids they just don't have the balls for that, and then that's fine. But some kids might have the balls for that, but you'll never find out if they're not put in that situation. It's the hard times that football is a unique sport in what it brings out in people. You will find out who is a bitch and who is I don't want to say who is a butch. It would be fantastic alliteration, but then we would just have what one person's a bitch and the other one's a lesbian that wears strap-on dildos under her jeans. No, but it's an important sport, and I think you got to take a step back and take a deep breath. If your kid's playing Pee Wee football, he's probably not going to wind up with CTE. In fact, I would wager, and this is based on obviously a very small sample size, I would wager that even if your kid grows up to play like Division III football, probably not going to wind up with CTE. Probably. Is there a chance? Sure. But your brain keeps developing until you're like 25 anyway. Just suck it up. Most people's kids are going to suck so badly at football that they're going to quit after like 3 years, or they're going to ride the bench, or they're going to play a couple series in a JV game. Your kid's not getting CTE as a result of that. Like you've read too many terrifying op-eds in Sports Illustrated and seen too many like heartfelt fucking ESPN segments. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they want. I think ESPN would be thrilled if the only sports left were women's basketball and World Cup soccer. Like I think that's what we're going towards. I know that they had this thin veil of respect for everything else, but it just I have this inkling that they want us to live in sort of this soy boy castrati world that the rest of the lamestream media is dragging us towards. But that's that. So if you're in New Jersey, please write your lawmaker, and I would suggest with an envelope full of anthrax and tell them that if they don't vote to protect youth football, then there's more of that where it came from. No, I'm not. I'm joking. That you should not. For when the FBI eventually looks at this, I'm not actually suggesting that anyone sent anthrax to a lawmaker. That was what we call a joke. Not even really a joke. Just a little playful comment. That would be: do not engage in terrorism because you saw it. Yeah, this is not Islamic State propaganda. But if I got to wrap up, I got to get to work. Whatchamacallit, if you're looking for me elsewhere on the webs, on Instagram at Gary_Moiler, on Twitter at Mike Montone, and obviously this is Facebook.com/TheSavageCrew. You find the podcast at thesavagecrew.libsyn.com, and that's it. Have a fantastic Saturday, you little fuckers.